Meet the challenge of life by tuning into the Vanguard of Renaissance. Whether you wield the pen or the sword, protecting your legacy is a must. Alright, hello. Welcome to the Vanguard of Renaissance. Whether you wield the pen or the sword, protecting your legacy is a must. Covering politics to the paranormal, the show aims to try to put innovation, true innovation, and creativity back on the front lines of the degradation of this world. Join us in our campaign of news, art, music, protests, and the communal discussion about our future. You can find more at vanguardofrenaissance.blogspot.com. With that being said, let's get into the announcements. 1. I'm almost nearing completion of my series, Magic. I figure either every 5 to 10 episodes, we'll be doing something that does engage people outside of the craziness that we deal with every day. Something that's thought-provoking and at the same time informative and educational. We also have an active Twitter feed where you guys can see what we're doing, or at least what we're talking about, so you can tag us in anything. We're trying to be more socially available. We also have the Vanguard of Renaissance.blogspot.com. That's essentially our hub. Aside from our Facebook page, where you'll find more of the things that we post, like articles, pictures, videos, and anything else that we find that's interesting, or at least thought-provoking, or that's engaging you, because that's what we want. We want what's going on upstairs to match what's happening in the center mass. Alright? Lastly, I'm making more informative videos. I'm also taking the time just to send quick shout-outs and video responses to people that are interacting with us. Just the other day, I started having some Twitter drama with some people that were confusing what I was saying with violence. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to seek out justice. That's what this world needs. They're trying to ramp us towards anarchy and madness and anger, but that's not what we're needing. With all that being said, let's jump right into the Age of Crises. Normally, through this section, I try and go over things in depth, but the thing that's going on in the topic of discussion forces my hand a little. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Here in America, we're obviously dealing with the Ferguson riots. But at the same time, Barack Obama has called an emergency weekend regrouping at the White House. Don't know what that's going to be about. Maybe it might be the ramping up of what's going on in Ferguson. Who knows? Lastly, a New Jersey man has raised a flag of ISIS, meaning we might have terrorists in our own homeland. In Brazil, the presidential candidate, Eduardo Campos, obviously died in a plane crash. However, his successor, Marina Silva, has decided to talk about the drought as well as rationing issues that are happening. Lastly, Brazil's giant oil conglomerate, Petrobras, is dropping 25% in the first quarter, leaving them with at least $10 billion. In Russia, we are also dealing with an aid convoy that's heading toward the eastern Ukraine border. Putin also says they shouldn't close themselves off from what's happening in the West. Lastly, 40 Ukrainian paratroopers as well as 9 crew members were downed in a military aircraft, or actually found dead in the downed military aircraft. In India, they're excited about their Independence Day, which is good because at the same time there's cross-border tensions of what's going on in Pakistan. And lastly, a bribery hotline has been found soliciting police officers, meaning there's corruption everywhere. In China, a professor was blasted for the secrecy of helping a U.S. company that's under suspicion and inspection, requesting only anti-fascist and nationalist TV in October. Lastly, a Shenzhen company has developed a test kit for the Ebola virus. In Africa, they are confident in their aid and trade and natural resources import and exportation that's going on with America. The World Health Organization has also declared that Ebola virus will most likely not travel through planes, meaning that it will not be airborne. And Boko Haram has abducted 100 young men in Borno as military intercepts mass movements of 57 youth. Clearly, everything on a global scale is starting to ratchet up. I say all that to say this. Clearly there's a lot of things going on, and if we try to stay ignorant to them without trying to figure out what's going on a global scale, then we will just be playing right into the hands of what they need. It is our duty to try and do something, or at least be actively engaged in what's happening in the world. We are byproducts of our environment, and if we don't try and figure out what it means to actually be a human in this time of 2014, then we will be caught up in the craziness that only grows. With that being said, let's jump into the segment of the everlasting struggle, or what I like to call what we have versus what they want. 1, we have the righteous reasoning of what's going on. 2, we have a historical right to try to at least make a choice of what's going on in our life. 3, we have compassion as a strength, not a weakness. We have strength in numbers versus being docile and domesticated, treated like animals, and either dead or enslaved. If we keep playing into their hands, they know how to excite us. There are people in higher places that have been studying us for years, like aliens, outside of the society, testing and poking and prodding us, sending out different stimuli to see what we will face. And if we keep acting like idiots and animals playing into their hands, then they will have already won. This is what they want. Like example, what's going on in Ferguson right now. They're wanting to try to start something. That's why they're ratcheting up everything that's going on. If we try to beat them 2 steps ahead, or at least think in 2-step manners, then we'll be the martyrs. And people will know what we've lived for, not what they just want us to be remembered about. Alright? Obviously, we're going to talk about what's going on in Ferguson right now. It's something I'm very passionate about. I've been trying to follow it ever since it happened. But the thing that they're trying to do with this whole media coverage is they're trying to make it seem like there's only looting and rioting and all kinds of other crazy stuff going on. That's not the case. There's definitely peaceful protests, people trying to reach out, people trying to do the right thing. Earlier, there are people talking about how they don't want to try and do this rowdy stuff involving everyone else. They don't want to try to carry on with people in the streets. They don't want to do these things because they understand what it comes from. There's people screaming out in the middle of the street saying, this is not what we want. Get out of here. Get out of our neighborhood. And it's not like they're going to loot their own neighborhood. They've been sectioned and quarantined off into their own section. All right, I'm done ranting. Let me read off what I've written, which is probably better. The mainstream media is trying to play this off as an escalation of intensity. But of what? The only thing that is being escalated is the amount of policing force that they're adding to quote-unquote control the situation. A night of looting does not require MRAPs. They've decided and declared a domestic war on the people of Ferguson, and that the citizens have responded in peace. Now that Anonymous is involved, releasing the name of the individual, which I won't say because I don't feel like that's something that should be out there. Not whenever it has this kind of attention on us, you know, or on them. There might be hostility at that point. With that being said, now the feds have taken their chance to get involved, and the people in the area have either A, learned their lesson, B, retreated from the scene, C, peacefully approached things, D, retaliated in guerrilla-like warfare, E, taken to social media and tried to share this information. That's what needs to happen. They need to get out. That's why I've been following live streams. I've been following people that are tweeting about it. That's why I'm not just trying to do it as a trending thing. People need to understand that this police state brutality is going on, and it's only ratcheting up every day. And that every day that we don't stay involved inside of it, or at least stay engaged with it, we allow for that to happen. You can't keep putting off and passing the buck because it's going to eventually come to you. I'm here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was here whenever the James Boyd protests were happening, and they tried to section us off. That's what's happening. Okay? I'm not telling people to retaliate. I'm telling them to handle it peacefully, truthfully. Find the commanding officer. Tell them that they've got this under control. Tell them that there's no need for all these people to be here and that they will disperse. The only thing is once they start adding to it and making it more and more crazy, really, they give off that fear. They make these things happen. That's what they want. That's why they're releasing tear gas, shooting rubber bullets. And for what? There's no curfew. There's no reason they should be doing that. But at the same time, that's what they're doing. That's their job. They're policing. They're not incorporating peace. All these cops are all jacked up thinking, you know, all right, this is what happens whenever we give cops too much power. This police militarization that you're seeing all across the world, this is a perfect example of it. There's reason you're seeing Humvees, MRAPs, SUVs, ATVs, all kinds of different vehicles for multiple situations. And the increase in firepower and gear that these people have is for situations like this. They've been trying to plan this. This is a powder keg-like event. Even with Jesse Jackson over there trying to say there's a Ferguson near you. He's trying to get people to think that this is okay. And it's not about race. Okay, that's really what we need to get across. It's not about race. This is about people being treated like animals and caged in their communities rather than approached like humans. I feel like how this correlates to now is the phrase police militarization is in everybody's head with this whole incident. It's the spark to a powder keg-like event. The reason you saw the flexing forces of the police has shown its ugly head. This is what they've wanted. All the cops are hopped up killing people left and right, and they finally got a grip on the situation. There's killings in Los Angeles, New York, all across the world, all across the country. The reason why this is getting so much attention is because it's amping up. Can you not feel the tension? Even whenever you try and follow this story, it's harsh. I put out a video a few days ago for the trend that was going on that was saying hands up, don't shoot. You know, and obviously it didn't have an effect because now, like I said, with Anonymous releasing information about, I can't say his name, releasing information about the officer that shot Mike Brown, clearly things are going to escalate. With the feds being involved, it's really turning into a domestic terror zone or domestic war zone right there. We've really got to try and get a handle on this situation. Normally I would try to do an outro and get everybody, you know, peacefully understanding about what's happening. But this is an incident, this is something that does not require that kind of mindset. We've got to get engaged, we've got to meet them head on, and we've got to try to put them in their place. Neutralize the situation. Don't be a part of it. Do not be a part of it. Seek justice, not violence. Because violence only begets more violence. We really need to figure out what we're doing instead of playing into their hands. With all that being said, you know, I'll cut it off. I'll cut it off right there. And like I said at the start of this, I have a few more things coming up that I got to get out there that I want you guys to pay attention to. You can also find some of the stuff at the bottom of this video, or, you know, attached to anything else that's going on. If you guys want to try to send me some content, like I said, my email address is noiseera@gmail.com. Or if you want to upload articles to the Vanguard of Renaissance blog, let me know. I'm always looking for more active people. We really need to get our heads in the game. Stop acting so airy, and we really need to get more involved. With all that being said, you guys stay up. And if you have anything you want to say, do hashtag VOR. Get me into it. All right? I'm really trying to start people off on a new kick. I don't have anything as far as, oh wait, no. As far as local news goes, somebody is being sued, or the DEA is being sued for $50 million after injuring somebody in a police raid. I'll follow that up in a later date. But things are going on and things are happening. And if we don't try and take a stance and say, no, I don't want this anymore, I don't want to be a part, I don't want to be a victim anymore, that's whenever we get progress. All right? And that's what I've got for this whole video segment. So you guys stay tuned. Hopefully you guys have some more information for me. I have some more stuff coming out for you, that's for darn sure. Stay up, guys. And stay strong. This is Noise Era, signing out.
Get it. We count figures, I'm just a nigga, and we only getting bigger. Guess I might feed up motion gang. Just another homie trying to gain, make change. Always known for my name, Young Da Vinci. Shout out to those who doubt me. J-Kid preaching, now they can see the prophecy. Humble beginnings like Charlie Sheen, running from about 9 innings. Clippers on the tree I'm trimming. No, I'm not tripping, but these mushrooms got me gone. Seeing visions, half cartoons like I'm in Spawn. Not another demon, but you can keep your feelings one more time. You don't really need them. Yeah, you can keep your feelings. It's unapologetic, I must confess it. I'm a diuretic, you're a diabetic. Curing your 100, no wonder my words shock like thunder. And while these lanes stumble, I said I will rumble, leave you wonder. No shovel, just a shuttle. Double takes, get bubbles popped. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, double takes, get bubbles popped.
Don't worry though, I will pray for you and leave you buried under the moon. Hope I don't burn the zombie soon. It's 2014, time to make a move. I fit the game like a bodysuit while sipping some chartreuse.
Now that's the start. Shit.
Chambers, you know what I'm saying? They had all this cut off. I can't even make it home to my family. I ain't trying to do all this belligerent ass shit with these people.